Béarnaise is one of the most important sauces ever created, and it is especially well suited for steaks. This is my own version though, not the classic. I'm also going to show you how to make a béarnaise without a double boiler and in a fraction of the usual time. This is the way professional chefs cook, not TV chefs. It's going to begin with about half a teaspoon of green peppercorns, dried green peppercorns. I'm going to crush these in a mortar. You don't want to grind them to a powder really for this, but you want them pretty crushed up like that. In a pan here, we've got 22 grams, it's about 3/4 of an ounce of minced shallots. We've got the green peppercorns that we just ground. We've got about half a teaspoon, a little bit more, of tarragon, dried tarragon. 60 milliliters, 2 ounces of white wine, and an ounce of red wine vinegar. And finally, just a little salt. Oh, I don't know, 1/4 teaspoon, half a teaspoon, something like that. We're going to bring this to a boil. I actually want to reduce this until it's almost dry. Okay, while this is reducing, I've got the butter set up, the egg yolks, and this is a thermos bottle. And I'm going to fill this with hot water, throw it out, fill it up again. I want to make the inside of the thermos very hot. In making this is one of the classic questions is, how dry is dry enough? It's kind of like, how many licks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Roll Tootsie Pop? You have to judge it yourself. I've turned the heat way down as it gets closer. You don't want to burn it, that's for certainly sure. But you want to get it down pretty low. There's a little bit of moisture there. You could argue that's not dry. This is dry enough. This is fine. Now I've got the butter. I'm going to add about half of the butter. You notice one of the many rules I'm breaking in this recipe is that I'm not using clarified butter. And I'm going to add another half teaspoon of tarragon. This is the second dosage of tarragon. Not losing my mind, I didn't do it twice. This is on purpose. It gets tarragon 2 times. Okay, now I'm going to kill the heat completely at this point. Although of course the burner underneath it is still somewhat hot. I just want to stir this until the butter melts. Here's a key. Just until the butter barely melts. A little tiny piece here, it's okay. It's still in it, that's fine. Now I'm going to switch to a whisk. You can see this okay. Now I'm switching to a whisk. Now here's the trick. You're going to add all the rest of the butter now. And remember, there's no heat now. And all the egg yolk. Well, as much as you can scrape out of there. And you start whisking it together. No double boiler, none of this nonsense. We don't have time for that in a restaurant kitchen. We're not going to screw around standing over a double boiler for an hour making this. We need to make it fast. This gets the recipe, it gets the final product in a matter of a couple minutes. That's all you need. You still got a solid piece of butter here. As long as you have a solid piece of butter and the heat is off, you have nothing to worry about. Okay, on the warm burner, but the heat is off. Okay. And it's almost coming together. It's thick, but it's not quite at the stage we want. But it's very thick. Now, at this stage, it's stable. We could set this aside somewhere, and it would be fine for quite a few minutes without doing anything else to it. We're going to keep it here for just a second. Okay. It's nice, thick sauce. Now, next unconventional thing. I'm going to add a few drops more of the wine vinegar. I'm going to stir it with a spatula now, and now I'm going to transfer it into this thermos that's been warmed. This will keep it from falling apart, and I'll be able to use it as much as I'd like just by pouring a little bit out anytime over the course of the next hour, 2 hours, sometimes even 3 or 4 hours in a thermos. Now, just to show you, this is an hour and a half later. through the magic of video editing. This is the thermos bottle that we put the béarnaise in. Now pretend you just had an order come in, or party guests just arrived. There you go. Looks like you just made it. No difference. Now I made this very thick because that's my application in this case. You could have added more butter, made it thinner. Principle's the same. The thermos will keep it perfect. Also look for my cocktail book, Cocktails of the South Pacific and Beyond, Advanced Mixology, available through Amazon online.